Hi everybody, it's Jeannie from Gardening Jones, and I'm in my kitchen, and today is apple day, canning apples. I'm going to be making apple pie filling, and then later on apple butter. We bought apples on sale, locally sourced apples, got about 11 pounds. For the pie filling, I'm using, for the first time, Mrs. Wage's fruit pie filling. This is for apples, peaches, or pears, and so it's perfect. It was about $5, but I've never made pie filling before. Most of the recipes I've seen online ask you to freeze it. I want to can it. This is for canning, so we're going to give it a shot. That's what it's looked like. It's mixed with 3 cups of sugar. We have our apples washed, peeled, and cored, and sitting in lemon juice water so they don't turn brown. All of our tools are ready. The jars are in the canning pot getting hot. It's almost coming to a boil. Okay, so the apples have been cooked. It said to leave them in the pan. And now I'm going to add the water to the mix, get that on the burner, and get that cooked up. And I'll show you that when it's done. Okay, I'm not going to record the whole thing. I have no idea how long this is going to take. But basically, I'm just whisking the water into the dry mix. Don't try not to let it be clumpy. That's the problem with using, like, some recipes call for clear gel, which is what I was looking for at the store, and they didn't have it. So, but Mrs. Wage's, who you can always count on for a good product, no affiliation there, just a good product, they had that, so I grabbed that instead. I'm sure the clear gel would have been less expensive, but I want to get these apples made into pie filling. I love apple pie filling on top of pancakes. So anyway, I'll be back when this is nice and thick. Now, the Mrs. Wage's directions said to cook it until thick, but be careful not to overcook it. Using the spoon method of determining, it's getting thick, but to me thick wouldn't fall off of the spoon quite that fast, so I'm going to go a little longer. So you're actually supposed to fold the apples into the pie filling instead of the other way around, but there wasn't enough room in the skillet, and in case you were wondering why I was using a skillet, it's because you need to use a non-reactive, non-aluminum pan. And in all my canning, I've never had to use more than 2 pots, and I only have 2 non-aluminum. I think I have some in the attic. I'll have to go take a look. But there we have it. Now we're ready to just ladle it into the jars the way you would normally when canning. Here's the jars. I like to take out 2 at a time because gives me a place to set the funnel down. Nice and hot, sterile. Keep everything clean. You're going to end up wanting, you can see it's all steamy video. You're going to end up wanting the jars to be covered with at least 1 inch of water when they're in the canning pot. I'm using wide mouth jars, which I prefer. It said I was going to get 7 pints. I think it said 3 quarts, so I boiled 7-pint jars, just in case. Sometimes you get exactly what they say you're going to get, and often you don't. Now this needs a 1-inch headspace, which that obviously isn't. I'm going to put some of this back till we get to a 1-inch headspace. Get rid of any air bubbles. And actually get out the tool that measures the headspace. There it is. So this little guy measures 1-inch headspace, and 1 inch is the very top. So that's a big headspace. But yeah, I think we pretty much got that. And we'll wipe it off, put the lids and the rings on, and we're good to go. So we got this all cleaned up here. Got a 1-inch headspace, I think the most I've ever seen. I like doing new things. One of the hardest problems I used to always have is knowing how tight to make the ring. And this tool, which is a two-handed tool, so I won't be able to film it, you turn this until these two arrows here line up. And when they line up, you've got the right amount of torque. So this has helped me save a lot of canning jars from not processing because the tension or torque on the ring wasn't enough. So I'm going to have to shut off until I get these done. And I'll do all the jars and then we'll take it from there. When you get rid of air bubbles, which is hard to see here, you increase your head space. So always make sure you get rid of your air bubbles before you measure your head space. And the head space is very important. It's, you know, they know how much this is going to boil when it's processed. They know how much activity is going to be in there. I think we're looking pretty good here. There's another couple little ones. And then measure my head space. It's pushing it. Let's try compacting it a little. So I'm not good. This is the last jar. I've got a little bit for pancakes tomorrow, but that's close enough for me. That's close enough for me. Wipe the rim. Put on the lid. Always use new lids, but you can reuse your rings, which I have a big bag full of. Tighten the jar. Let's try this, yes. And then check your torque to make sure it's tight enough. And look at the sticky mess I got here. It's all going to be worth it. So when your canning time is up, in this case it was 30 minutes, take the lid off, let the jars sit for about 5 minutes, and then take them out. Now, if you can see it I think you can see it in the film, the water looks a little dark. It's possible I overfilled a jar. I know there was one that was pushing it, so it may have leaked. Something else could have happened. I don't see anything floating around, so I don't think it's a broken jar, but we'll know when we get the jars out, which I'm going to do now. As you can see, we got 6 jars, plus a little extra. This jar is obviously what was the problem. I must have overfilled it. I know there was one that I was kind of pushing it. It was the last one. And now I know it probably won't seal. If it doesn't, then I'll just put it in the fridge and we'll eat it sooner. Maybe we'll have it for Thanksgiving, which is only about a week away, or 2 weeks away. I'm sorry. I'm retired. Time doesn't mean much. It probably won't seal. We'll see. But if it's that high that it's boiling over, then it might. When the jar is processed, the rings become looser. So when I moved this, that encouraged it. So I probably would have been better just leaving it in the water. But who knows? Nothing like showing my mistakes. Like I said, it's the first time I've ever canned pie filling, I believe. Maybe a long time ago, but that's certainly the first time that's happened. So this is one of the side effects that can happen, so you got to be careful. Let them cool, and the ones that seal get put on the shelves, and anything that doesn't goes in the refrigerator, and we enjoy it sooner. But homemade pie filling, can't beat it. I figured that with the cost of everything, because I had to buy the apples. If you own your own apple trees, it's significantly cheaper. But it was about $2.50 for a jar. I bought peach pie filling on sale yesterday, $3.50 a jar, 50 cents off. But it's a little bit bigger. It's 21 ounces instead of 8. So it's comparable. And I bought the mix too. So if I didn't buy that, I mean, you could make this almost for free. Cost of the lids would be about it. But it's worth it. And they didn't have any apple pie filling anyway. It was sold out. So now I got peach and apple. Might as well give a little taste test to the pie filling, so I can let you know if it's worth the $5. Yes. Absolutely yes. It is so good it makes me want to make some pancakes. It's only been a few minutes and the jars are starting to seal. They may have actually sealed in the, this one's sealed, in the canning pot because I'm not hearing the ping. This one's sealed. This one's not. This one you can see the bump. See that bump right there? See if I can capture it. Oh, it just sealed when I was trying to catch the bump. There's one. There's a bump. You can see it's still up a little bit. And the one that had the issues, that sealed also. So I think we're good to go. Yay! It's going to be a little cleaning up, but yay!